Every person on Patrick's team spends about 16 hours a week manually processing invoices to try to meet payment deadlines. Done manually, the process starts when invoices are received electronically through a web portal. Then the accounts payable team has to manually validate each invoice. They apply more than 30 controls to check things like, are there 9 characters in the tax number? Does the provider information match the database? Is every field filled in? Is the VAT calculated correctly? Is there an existing budget assigned to this provider? With so many controls, manually processing all those invoices was taking up valuable time for Patrick and his team every week. The company ended up paying many invoices late, which meant incurring extra fees. With a robotic process automation tool, the process was made much simpler for Patrick and his company. The same Excel spreadsheet used to manually record an invoice's status can guide a bot to perform the same controls. Watch as the Automate bot runs through these checks. It goes through each control quickly, checking between the invoicing software and CRM. Then it updates the Excel file if there are no errors. If there are errors, Automate emails the appropriate team so they can take action. This company not only was able to pay their invoices on time, but every person on Patrick's team got back 16 hours per week to spend on more valuable tasks. How could your company benefit from automating its invoicing processes?
An offboarding bot to handle their hiring and termination processes. During the hiring process, the HR manager sends the offer letter via email to the new sales agent. In that email, there's a link that will allow the sales agent to complete all the necessary forms related to hiring, such as the W-9. Once these forms are completed, it triggers the bot to go into action. The bot then reaches out to the hiring manager to confirm the hiring details. When the hiring manager replies to the bot's email, the bot then logs into DocuSign and sends the new employee both a non-disclosure agreement and their independent contractor agreement for signature. Once these documents have been signed, the bot then adds the employee information into the company database. It then logs into the company Office 365 account as an administrator and sets up the new employee's email and SharePoint access. It then logs into the company's Vistaprint account and orders their business cards. Next, it logs into the company's CRM account as an administrator and sets up the new employee's profile. It then sends the instructions to the new employee on how to access his company email and CRM. It also provides technical support for the new employee throughout the entire setup phase. Once the employee has access to the company email, the bot then initiates the online training program for new hires in the company's learning management system. Until the training is completed, the bot continues to monitor the training progress of the sales agent. Once that training is complete, the bot sends an email to the hiring manager notifying her of the new sales agent's readiness to start. All of this is accomplished with a single offer email from HR and a confirmation email from the hiring manager. The opposite is also just as simple. The termination is triggered by an email from the HR manager to the bot. The bot then deactivates the sales agent's email access and CRM access. Next, it updates the company records in the database, and then sends a contract termination letter via DocuSign. Once completed, the bot reports back to the HR manager to confirm that offboarding has been completed. These are just 2 of the many custom solutions that we have designed and created for our clients.
My name is Marvin Romero. I'm a small business owner. I have a personal injury firm with 2 employees, and I came across Scale Through Automation on LinkedIn. I wasn't sure if they'd work with small businesses because they already were doing things on a larger scale, but I reached out to Wilton Rogers and his team anyway. We met in early December. They told me they could help out my small business and we could automate some processes that were actually taking up a lot of our time. So we had a meeting the first week of December. After that meeting, I received a questionnaire, filled out that questionnaire. Within a week, we had a Zoom meeting where we talked about all the things that the bot should be able to do, what the automated process would entail, and what I actually wanted to accomplish. 7 days or less from that date, we actually had a bot to look at and a demo to run. And within 3 weeks and before Christmas, we had an automated process for the business. It was amazing to see that the team came together and put together an automated process within 30 days and also during the month of Christmas. scale through automation definitely came through for my business.
What is up, everybody? Hope you are doing well out there. Welcome to this webinar, RPA 101. We're doing this every single month. Every month we're doing this to educate you, because you're probably saying, what is RPA? If you never heard of the word or never heard those letters, you're like, what is it? Well, long story short, it stands for robotic process automation. And long story shorter and better, it's the kind of business automation that is literally taking the world by storm, or say the business world by storm. It is a trend that literally over the last 3 or 4 months has spiked higher than any trend has ever spiked with this kind of speed that it has. And let me tell you what that means. It means that right now, we know we just went through a horrendous situation. The pandemic was crazy, and so many businesses shut down. It just was what it was, and then everyone had to pivot to digital. Those who pivoted lasted, those who couldn't, unfortunately, that was the outcome. Now, moving forward, it's not about just surviving, it's about thriving. And so there's a technology, this business automation technology, RPA is what it's called. You'll hear more about it, you'll learn more about it, you'll see more things. But it's literally allowing businesses to rapid speed their processes. Imagine if you had a process. There's always processes in every industry has processes. Every company have processes with people running those processes. What if you could take all of those repetitive tasks, those mundane tasks, those head down into the computer tasks away from those individuals, move them into some more value added activity, bringing more value to themselves and the company, speed up what they're doing, take out the errors, heighten the efficiency, bam, that's what's been happening. And so over the last few months, it has just been going crazy, and businesses are winning. We have companies that literally, we have a company that's three people, small business, law firm, wonderful organization helping people. 3 hardworking individuals. One of those hardworking individuals is the actual lawyer. We were able to save them over 40 hours a week. And what that did for not just their business, but their well-being. And that's what's happening. And so you're going to learn like what this is, how you can use it. Because if you have a business, you can. If you have processes, here's a newsflash for you. Guarantee you, bare minimum, 30% of what you're doing can be automated. This is what the greats, the people who study this, people who dedicate their life to these statistics, minimum of 30%. But we've been finding like 70 to 80% of a process being automated. What does that mean in the long run? It means that you're getting more done in less time and more efficiency. People are happier, and their office parties going on, ladies and gentlemen. People are excited. And so I want the excitement to continue. I'm going to hand the baton off to my partner, Wilton. We're going to show you a use case. He's going to walk you through a little bit more, a little deeper. But I want you to pay attention. I want you to pay attention to what's going on, because this is a trend. I want you to think about what Google was before Google was Google. No one knew what Google was. Like, what the heck is Google? They would look at you like you had. What is that? Everyone knows what Google is now. I don't use anything but Google. It's just a thing. RPA is that thing. It's the Google for business. People don't. What is that? What is RPA? But very soon, you're not going to have a business if you don't have this. You won't be able to compete. It's like trying to run against Usain Bolt, and you were born in 1900s. They just can't do it. They don't have the DNA. Wilton, they don't have it. But you can get the DNA. You can get it. You know, you can get that Usain Bolt DNA for your processes easily. And so, teach them something today, brother. Teach them something, and I want you to listen, learn, ask questions. You can ask any question. The dumbest question to ask is the one you didn't. Hello.
That's right. That's right.
I'm a vanish now, man. Off to you.
All right. Thank you, Rob, man. And thank you for the introduction. It's like Rob said, this is growing at an amazing speed, faster than we even thought possible. In fact, I'll show you those stats here, but I'll give you a little bit background about us. We have been in the RPA industry since 2017. And back then it was basically enterprise. And since then, we have been trying to figure out a way to penetrate the SMB and the SME market. And it hasn't been easy. We've gone through many vendors, and we figured out how to do it. And I was asked the other day, why would we want to go with you when we go with another company? Like, let's just say Automation Anywhere, right? And I told them two things. First of all, we are an RPA development firm. We're not a vendor. Most of those RPA vendors, what their job is to do is to sell the software. And yes, they have training modules and everything else that you can learn as long as you have a team to learn it. But they don't, and if you want development, you want them to do development, well, then that's a high ticket price. It's a very high ticket price. Small, medium-sized businesses, most of them don't have their own IT team, first of all. Second of all, they don't have the time to learn a new software. Although this is an important software, they don't have the time because there's a lot of customization that needs to go in there, and also be able to give or be able to what's the word I'm looking for? They'll be able to deliver a service to not only their team, but also be able to learn more as time goes. I guess you could say their IT team, it takes them away from their projects already, and that's just something that we found out that's a missing link. Development is where it is. You can buy the software, but if you don't have the development, you don't have a service. So we are the leading RPA development firm in the world right now. We're working in Europe, Australia, India, Canada, Mexico. We're working all over the place now because they figured out how we'd be able to do that, and we're going to share that with you today. So let me go to share my screen. And Rob, let me know if you can see my screen.
Yep, I see it.
Hold on one second. For some reason, it's not letting there we go. Can you see
Full screen.
Full screen. All right. So, like I said, we are a development firm that works the SMB market and the SME market. And the reason why, because you wear so many hats in the market. I mean, in your job, and we know that your time is limited. And to be able to have a service that can take those hats off you and be able to automate it the way you think about it, the way you want to automate it, is important. If you hire somebody, but you train them to do a certain thing, they don't do it right, that's where the frustration comes in, or they have their own way of doing it. But from your point of view, if you can show us exactly how you want it done, we'll build a logic to automate that. Now, why is this so important? Why do we need to learn about RPA now? And what does RPA give me? What will it do for me? Well, first of all, the most important thing is that you can focus your time and energy on more productive tasks that drive revenue. Just think about this. Rob said, and you see on this document too, let's just say that you have 30% of your processes that you can automate. Or let's just say that you have one process. Let's go with that, because I want you to think about one process right now. One process that you go to work every day and you have to do. It's a repetitive thing that you have to do over and over and over and over again. Mentally, you're already thinking about it. Physically, you have to do it. Now, what happens if you take that away completely? Physically, you don't have to do it anymore. Mentally, you don't have to think about it anymore. What could you do with that time doing something else? That's exactly what RPA does. It allows you to take that time away, because if it's repetitive and you do it every single day, or even a couple of times a day, a couple of times a week, those are automatable. Those are RPA candidates. Okay, repetitive tasks, all those different bottlenecks, something that you do over and over and over, are the tasks that are very RPA friendly. And basically, RPA is automation on steroids, automation software that's on steroids. So it automates all your automation software. It allows you to go from point A to point Z fast, quick, and in a hurry. It works 24 hours a day. It never takes a break. It never calls in sick. It never takes a vacation. And it will work as fast as your applications work. So if you're on the
Never
software,
calls in sick.
never calls in sick, never
Get
calls
out
in
of here.
sick, you know, it reacts when you want it to react. It can be scheduled. You can just, you can trigger it to run whenever you want it to run, and it'll do exactly what you tell it to do. And like Rob said earlier, at least 30% of what you're doing right now, any business is doing right now, there's about 30% that can be automated. More than likely, people don't realize it can be automated because it never has been, service has never been offered before. So if you can figure out right now, what are those bottlenecks? What are the things that you do over and over again within your corporation? Every business has them. You know, it's very heavy in the accounting industry or accounting departments. Invoice processing, things like that are very heavy in RPA. And the reason why is because they're things that do over and over and it's repetitive. And it's definitely the fastest growing market of fast growing software in the technology industry. And here are some stats that we had before, and then we got some new stats, which I'll share with you. RPA, if you can see right here, we're at 2021. This was expected to be the growth by 2020, 27. But since the pandemic happened, it's changed. Before, you're looking at about a compound annual growth rate of about 40%. Now, that's coming from $120 million in 2016 to expected almost $26 billion by 2027. That has changed. The new data has shown there's been an increase of the compound annual growth rate of 45 to 50% within 2 years. That's just a couple years down the line, right? And us as business owners, or as an RPA development, have seen the business owners see what it can do internally for one bot, and then they get the bug. We call it the bug, and then they start doing it more and more and more because now they see the value, now they understand how it works, and now they know where to implement it. And this used to be a RPA lived in an enterprise space. Basically, they owned it, right? And the reason why is because they buy the software, they train their IT teams how to do it, and their IT teams will go to work and start automating processes. Small, medium-sized businesses can't do that. To this day, they can't do that, which is 99% of our world, basically, definitely of our nation. So we know that there had to have been that bridge, that gap, and we became that gap for the SMB and SME market. We show overnight ROI. In fact, we built an ROI calculator. So I'm going to show you here in a bit. When we go to the design phase, after we've designed it out for you, we show you what it looks like. We show you the return on your investment, so you actually get to see what it is. We haven't had one yet that I've seen that has been under 100% return. I think I think 120 was one of them, and besides that is we've seen a much higher return. So when we talk about return, it's high, and it hasn't even penetrated 2% of the market yet. You know, it lives in the enterprise, but SMB and the SME market has not penetrated. So this is the time to really understand that you need to have a better idea of what it does, because within the next 5 years, every business will know about it. 50% of the businesses will at least have some kind of RPA implementation. That's in 5 years, and only 2% know right now. So there's a huge gap, and that's why you see that the compound annual growth rate is so high, and that's why you see so many.
By the time everyone's going to figure it out, they're going to figure it out, and it's going to fly.
It is, like you said earlier, it's like Google. No one knew what Google was. That word sounded funny.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of years later, it was part of our dictionary, right? Yep. Because now they understand the power of it. This is the same thing, but in automation. It really is. And in the RPA circle, you can see what the trend looks like, and it's amazing. So we're really on the front end. So if you're on the fence of wanting to know, wanting to implement it, be educated. That's why we're having these. It's not a sales call. We're not going to have some kind of hey, buy this, get this at a discount at the end of this presentation. This is just straight education. And in fact, we're going to show you where you can get more of this on a regular basis. So what I like to do right now is that this use case right here, I'm going to show you a video, and then I'm going to basically show you a real quick design of it, of how it looks. And the reason why I want to show you this is because I was going to show you another one, but I actually put this in there last minute, like probably about an hour ago. And the reason why is because we finished this in 11 days, 11 working days. I think we started on the 8th, and we finished on the 8th was like on a Thursday, and then we finished it last Friday, this past Friday. So it was only 11 days it took us to do this. But what you're going to see is how much it saved their company. So keep in mind, we did this end to end. It started from just a conversation to implementation. It took us 11 working days. So basically a little over 2 weeks. All right. And the thing about it is that it only took 2 weeks to build it, but it's saving them. You'll see it. You're saving them a lot of hours. So let me roll this real fast.
Our customer is a property management and real estate company. They used RPA as an accounts payable solution for their agency. This bot is used to send emails and text messages regarding daily updates for the owner's review. The bot will identify the records that have been updated, and it will go through each record to get the updated balance and description from the desired application. Once it receives the balances, the bot will send emails and text messages using this application to the owners. And this will help to keep the customer updated and the process running smoothly. This one process will save 4 full-time employees 3 hours a day. That is 60 hours a week and an ROI of 225%. Let's see what RPA can do for your business. Contact us today at rpa@scalethroughautomation.com.
So this is how it looks on this end. So basically it logs into an application called AppFolio. It selects the date that it wants to run it. It gets the records. Once it gets the records, it emails and texts the appropriate people for that. And then once they approve that email or text, the information goes right to the admin, and it gets saved there. So basically all they're doing is instead of you having to email or send information over to the tenant or their client, the bot was able to grab that, send it to them. They respond back on how they have a list of responses back. They respond back, and all that matter goes to admin. There's no human interaction, and this was 100% done by humans. 100% done by humans, and so it's the turnaround, the instant impact that it had was huge, because not only were we able to do it in a little more than 2 weeks, but they moved these employees over to something that they wanted to move them over in the first place. So now they can focus their time there. There's no thinking about it. There's no physically doing it anymore. It's totally off their plate forever. And they have been doing this since the beginning, since the business started. So that was a huge use case. I want to share this with you because this is the last one we've done. Well, we've done a couple more, but this is the one that we've done that was a little complex, but it allowed us to change the direction the company was going overnight. When we say this impacts overnight, the minute we hit on, that bot went live, 4 employees didn't have to do this anymore. They were so happy about this because this is something that just had to do over and over, and they have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients. So this just saved them a huge amount of time. So now I'm going to walk you through the process, how that happened. This is the most important thing, because people are saying, well, how can you do it in 2 weeks? How can you do it in less than a month? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter the complexity. And we thought that it would, depending on the complexity. But When you have a great communication with the client and the client responds back at a reasonable time, we are getting things done pretty darn quick. So this is how it works. And mind you, this is not going to be and we try to eliminate as much time as we can from you, because we know that using a lot of your time is just taking away time from your work. So we took that in consideration, and over the last few years, we figured out how to ways to really minimize your time that you had to put towards the whole development part and into implementation. So the first thing we do is we have a conversation. So we'll have a conversation, we identify a process. Once we identify that process, we send you a questionnaire. The questionnaire takes about 5 minutes. I put 15 minutes just in case, but it takes about 5 minutes. Once you submit that questionnaire, we get it and we start designing. So we build that one that we just showed you earlier, this one right here, something like that. It's more detailed on the left-hand side, but you'll see more, right? So we'll start creating that workflow. But if we have questions, which once in a while we do, we'll send an email out and we'll say, hey, you know what, we're trying to finish this up. After you talked about this application doing this, and this, where does it go if that doesn't happen? And then they'll tell us it goes here. Okay, now we can add that error handling, or we call it a what if scenario, into the workflow. And then once that workflow is done, within 24 to 48 hours, we like to turn around and do a design call. So we don't wait a long time. So we do it right away. We show you what it is, we show you how it works, and at that time, we show you the ROI calculator. We present that because we have the information that we got from that questionnaire. That now we can start showing you exactly how much time you're actually saving from that process. And then on the ROI calculator, you also see what the ROI would be. Okay, so that's a game changer that we've added, and it took us probably maybe about 4 or 5 months to really get that. And we're talking about working on a calculator and trying to figure out, how to really make it accurate. It took us a while, but now we have it, and we have that available for every client that does a design that we do a design for. And then this is the meat of it. This is where most of the work gets done. Once you agree, on the third day you agree, say let's go ahead and do it. We sign the NDA and the process starts, right? We set up a Microsoft Teams group. That's where we do all of our communication. That's where you will be hearing from our developers that are on that project. You'll be hearing from our project manager, which is Dimitri, or analyst, and working on that process. But the communication is always there, making sure that everybody's on top of everything. And if we have to set something up right away, we can say, hey, do you have 5 minutes later on today? Here's a link. Let's jump on a call real fast. And that's it, right? But our first call after that, once we set that up, we ask you, let's walk us through the process. Let's do a recording. Whether you record it for us from end to end, how it works, or we jump on a call, which we like to do because we can ask some questions along the way. We jump on a 30-minute call and you just walk us through the process. This is how I start. This is everything in between. And this is the results I want at the end. And that's all we need. And once we get that, now we can really start going to work. Development starts. During that, we'll have some chats through Teams, possibly maybe setting up another call or two to walk you through to give some more detailed information. But most of it's done through Teams. I have to probably say about 90% of it's done through Teams. And then we do a lot of internal demoing. So in other words, we test it out over and over and over and over. So by that 21st day, we're getting ready to show you, we feel like it's ready to go live. So it's like we're ready to go live. And once we have this conversation, we should be able to just turn the bot on and you're off and running. Sometimes, once in a while, it might take some tweaks just to go live. If you want some tweaks, but it's not going to stop us from going live, and it's not going to interrupt, it's not going to mess up what you're doing right now, we say go live, because we can always make tweaks. We make tweaks all the time to make it better, right? But if it can go live, we go live. If it can't go live because something happens, then we make those tweaks, right? So by the next day or two, we like to get that done, and then we're off and running, and then we go live. Literally, this is less than 5 hours of your time from the conversation all the way to implementation. So we try to eliminate your time. And usually, unless it's a very high complex process, we're working on right now with a company that has 15, 20 stores, and they do thousands and thousands of invoices, and they have about 400 and some vendors. That's a little different, right? But so the conversations is going back and forth. However, it was still built in less than 30 days. That's the great thing about it. It was still built in less than 30 days. But most of the conversations will last less than 5 hours, it take less than 5 hours of your time. And of course, for those companies, like I was just telling you about the company that has multiple stores, they have their own internal team. And so, like I said earlier, most vendors, they say, here's the software, here's all the training material that you need to understand it. If you want us to build it, it's going to cost X amount of dollars per hour, and that adds up fast. If you could probably Google, what's the hourly rate for RPA developer? It'll probably say $185 to $250 an hour. So that gives you an idea of what it costs just to get some development done, right? So what we do is we'll go in there. Part of our service is when we're building a process like we're doing for this company, we're building about 60% of it. Probably about 15 of their main vendors is 60% of their business. We build that, and along the way, we're training them, we're showing them exactly what we're doing. So now we can move on to the next process for them, start building that, and then their team can take over the rest of the processes that we just finished building on the invoice processing. Now they can start doing the little ones, the low-hanging fruits, and putting those in the system and trying to figure out how to learn how to develop RPA by using those small projects. They don't have to do it from the beginning. So we start the project off for them, hand the baton off to them, and move on to the next one. So that's how the process is done. It's a very simple process, and that's basically it. There's nothing more to it. We don't get too complex about it. We don't try to make it harder than it really is. It's very simple. But if you look up RPA and you see it and you hear about it, it can sound pretty complex, and it just seems it's almost like AI. You talk about AI, people are like, oh, I know AI. Okay, what does it do? People are, I really don't know. Machine learning, same thing, right? So this is somewhat in the same boat, but we simplified it by working with you directly and building our community. We have a business empowerment community. If you go to our website, and I think you click on support, you'll see community under that tab. You join that community, and you have access to all of these you see right here on the side, right? So you have, if you're the accounting industry, medical industry, whatever it is, we have those use cases right here. So, and we're building more. I think we have two or three more industries coming on board. Those should be launched here sometime in May. So, but for the most part, any industry can use RPA because every industry has repetitive tasks, has rule-based processes that they do, that they've done, that they've built, and they have to do, and just follow the rules and it works. Follow the rules and it works. If you follow the rules and it works, we can speed that up 100% or 100 times what it is doing now. So it goes a lot faster and a lot easier with less mistakes. So that's basically it. If you have interest in knowing more about it, Dimitri, do you have that discovery link? You can drop that discovery link in the chat. That way you can set up a discovery call. And the discovery call is just a conversation. We're not into sales. We're not going to try to sell you. We're going to try to deliver service to you. And not one client that we have on board now have we ever sold to, or we kept bugging, saying, hey, you know what, are we going to get on board? We just basically have deadlines, and we keep in touch. And we're not going to be that type of company that's just going to be calling you, find out where you're at, because we know when you're ready, we'll be here waiting to help you. But our community is there to support you, and you can talk to us directly in there. You can talk to our developers in there. You can talk to our whole team is in there. And so, a lot of messages have been going to private message, but you can post on our post as well. It's almost like a private LinkedIn page or Facebook group page or whatever it is. But this is all built around giving you the information you need for in RPA. And in fact, if you have a specific question about a specific process, more than likely we have it, or we know how to do it. And that's why a lot of people say, well, show me what you do in accounting. Well, I'll tell me what you do in accounting. That way we can compare apples to apples. Because if I show you how someone does a process in accounting and you do the same process, but your logic is built differently, it's not going to make total sense. So what we like to do is find out from you, what do you do? Walk us through your process, and I can show you how can we automate that. Now you'll be able to identify how RPA can make an impact in your company, because now you're comparing with something that you're tangibly that your company is doing. So that's the way it's set up. So that's basically all I wanted to share with you. I think if you have questions, I think most of them have been answered through our panelists on the side. Are there any other questions that have been put out there?
I didn't see any. Let me see here. Nope.
No questions.
Other
Yeah, it
questions
seems
were
like
Dimitri was doing a good job of answering the ones that came through.
yeah. Thank you, Dimitri. So, you know, all I want to tell you is that this is growing fast. Now, we're not trying to, like I said, we're not trying to sell you, but we're trying to educate you. It's extremely important for your business future, your business growth, is to understand RPA, because RPA is not an automation software like we all have. We all have software that makes our lives easier. This is a granddaddy of software. So it basically oversees all of that. It puts all your automation together into one. Automation, there are a bunch of different crumbs. Automation, a bunch of different crumbs. RPA is a full chip. It puts all those pieces, or pieces of the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
And then RPA is a full puzzle. It creates the big picture, the pretty picture after all the pieces are put together. That's the way you want to look at RPA. So that's about it on my end. Any other questions? Any other comments or concerns? I did have a poll I forgot to add up there, but I'll throw that up there next week. But it was more of just a quick question about how much do you know about RPA, but we'll take care of that next time. But if no more questions,
I'll tell you. I tell you what, in closing, I'll say that all this information is cool, right? It's really good, but it doesn't mean anything if you don't do something with it. And so this is not the kind of thing where you want to get to it later,
right.
Because it doesn't take long to learn it. Like we're showing you, you can learn it in a very quick period of time. You can learn it in an even quicker period of time. You can actually implement it.
That's right.
But if you don't know anything, you don't know anything. So take the step, learn some more, follow what we're doing, ask the questions, and then take some action. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna be that Netflix and not that Blockbuster.
That's right.
We want you to be the Netflix.
That's it.
So understand the trends and make the necessary moves when you understand the trend. Yeah, we never been in a time like this. Like, even to Blockbuster's defense, Blockbuster didn't have the luxury of having the history of a Blockbuster.
Mm-hmm.
So not only can we learn about past trends, but now we can prepare from the past, and understanding, we can now prepare for the future. And the future says this: understand where trends are, and then understanding what you can do to leverage it. The trend says that this technology right now, this software technology, is impacting more businesses because it works. And so this is the time to learn it so that you can be ahead of the game.
That's it. I'm glad you brought that up. Rogers, did I say that right? Is holding their hand up. I don't know if they have a question, but you might want to check on that, Dimitri, for us. Just reply. They have their hands up. I think they're waving their hands saying that they have a question. I guess not. One of our clients 2 months ago had no idea what RPA was. No idea what RPA was. They asked questions about what they can do for their company, not about what RPA is. How can they help my company? They're working on the 4th bot, because now they have a true understanding of what RPA is.
Just like
And
that.
they're able to identify areas of their business. Oh, can we do this? Let's do it. Okay, knock it out. We record it. We do it. Send it. Did the same thing, and he's starting to get it now. He's starting to get it. So now to a point where we're automating everything in this company possible because he has a quick understanding. It took him a month to understand how RPA can impact his company, how he can identify areas of his company that can be automated. So that's how fast.
That's amazing. That's like learning a language in a month.
Right. And you know what he told me? He told me that all he did was spend about 15, 20 minutes
Mm-hmm.
when he got home
Smart.
with the information that we sent him. And when he
Smart.
started doing it, he started putting all his asking all kinds of questions. He'll put them down and then send it to us through Teams. We'll answer them, and he got it in within a month. It picked up right away.
That's what you do.
That's it.
That's what you do.
So
That is great.
that's it. And one more thing before we end. Thank you, Dimitri. Our affiliate program.
Mm-hmm.
We have an affiliate program. It's starting to grow now to get more attention, but we know that people know businesses. People know people. This is a software that you can't just go to somebody and say, hey, you know what? I have something new to you. Let me show you what it's all about. If you have no relationship with them, it's very hard because people are skeptical. They don't want to put something else on their plate. They don't understand how fast it can be implemented. And they think it's a whole new learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
Our affiliate program is an easy way for us to be able to talk to people, because now we can just sit down there and say, hey, you know what? Can you introduce us to your people, because you know them. We'll teach you what you need to know about not only about what we do, but how you can identify areas of their company, so your conversation with them is a lot easier.
That's happening. That's happening right now. We just launched a program, and a couple of our affiliates are already off and running and sharing. But one in particular has already just shared with multiple of his clients, and they're receptive, because when you have a relationship, you listen. Like and if you're listening, you can't unlearn this. Like once you see the benefits, and you project out for the future, and you see the ROI, like you can't, right? And so it's always getting to that point, and those warm relationships is great. So our affiliate program is, and obviously it's not for everyone, and we don't just accept everyone, but if it's a good fit, and um, you're up for learning, because it's a big thing. You got to be up for learning. It's not something you want to just stay outside. Even if you're on the fence, like you were saying earlier, if you're on the fence, you want to be reading while you're on the fence.
Right.
Just keep learning no matter what.
And
Yeah,
the
that's
great
it.
the great thing about it is that it's a residual income. It's a residual income that grows, because the introduction leads into multiple processes.
Yep.
It's an introduction. You have a conversation and you give them a link.
Conversation and a link.
And you be a fly on the wall along the way. We'll be able to help you identify. We'll identify the one process that you helped us with, but we will also help identify other areas of that business that can be automated. And if you have that connection with them, we'll tell you, hey, these are the processes that we know we can automate for them based on the conversations that we've had with them. You can do it, or we can do it, but it ends up turning into multiple processes. So that conversation can turn into a residual income that instantly grows overnight.
Yep.
So
that's the way it works.
That's it. So thank you guys for joining us. We'll be back again at this time next month, the last Tuesday of every month. We're going to be presenting this. So if you want to come back, if you want to introduce us to other people that might want to take a look at what we're doing, we're gonna have more use cases. We're gonna, we want some feedback on things that we can improve on. That way we can make the next presentation sharper than this one. We want to continue growing as well. So thank you guys so much for joining us, and have a great day. Take care.
See you later.